Derek, hear us okay?
Oh, we can't hear
Derek,
you.
we can't hear you.
Unmute.
That's because I was muted and
There we go. Okay, that's good. All right.
Where's our flag, Brooke?
Shoot.
Oh, there it is. It's down there.
And for Scott's presentation, Scott, we don't have
Brooke
the
already
podium in
determined where
here.
you're.
Oh, you already did. Oh, you guys already talked. Okay. Sorry, I was late. I was playing with the vending machine. I'm losing. Oh.
If it's close to 6, I'm gonna step out with Brett so you can watch
Yep.
the
Oh, yeah,
concert.
yeah.
Oh, I'm too.
David's gonna be done. You're gonna have it done, right?
Rifle meeting tonight.
As long
Rifle
as,
meeting.
as long as Derek does a nice job with the audit and only takes, no, just kidding.
what's my time limit?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes now. I'm kidding. This is, I can't. You finding a happy place?
You just gotta sit forward
No, I
and
gotta
kind of
get there. A little
cross
sprinting.
yourself.
Like height.
Oh, MRE conference. Should talk about that. That's right here.
How about we do this? That's not better, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was gonna do it, but I'm like,
Hey, red pen is fine.
red. Maybe cross-country system reservation.
Between the two legal people.
Yeah.
I love my
Majority.
I love my tape.
Yeah, I was supposed to ready.
My granddaughter's house.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have your pen or do you need one?
No.
What? Do you want a green pen
so
instead?
yes, I did. Yep. So I got
We're not started yet.
teriyaki cheese sticks coming from the entire deer. I told you
Okay,
that.
we're not
I told
started
her.
yet, we'll see if you have one.
So I said, you just want everything in sticks.
Yeah,
Because everybody in my family needs it. And then I can give away bags of sticks.
No,
But
do you want
it's
to
in
speak?
the
I
fish
want
house. He just said, just give me
Do
sticks.
you want
I
to give a
go,
speech?
and everybody else that's doing so they go, the whole beer. I go, yeah.
Hold beer.
She said, oh, that's not a bad idea. I said, "Well, they eat it." What's that? I would eat them myself in the corner, and I love the back straps, but
Mini steaks.
I know, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
My previous life, I used to eat those for sure and then do everything. You know what? When you just drop it off and just
Yeah, there you
sticks,
go.
have a nice day.
I wish Jared would do that, because then we don't, like, I don't like deer meat.
And neither does my wife. That's what I mean.
And then it goes over.
And I can
That's
tell
when we're
you,
supposed to make all that venison chili for all the Thanksgiving.
I made a lot of chili.
here's what I know. Every time I've gotten
And
sticks,
so I wasn't
they all get eaten. And I have thrown away back straps because they got buried in the freezer and I didn't even know they were
They're
done.
all freezer burned.
Then you just
Yeah.
throw them.
Grind them up, that'll be-
Okay.
Make them into sausages.
That's, there you go. We're gonna get up out of this coach and say the pledge.
Yeah.
Start working.
Start working on
It's gonna be a space to space here.
All right, Megan. Very graceful about it.
I call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We're in a new space today, so we're just getting used to the accommodations. As part of the meeting, I always read the district mission statement. In partnership with the communities, the mission of the Dilworth Golden Felden School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. Roll call, we've got all board members present, as well as Shannon Hunstead and and guests. I assume we don't have anybody speaking today.
No, just got here from the Lake Agassiz.
All right. Okay, then any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Lindsay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On number 5, public comments and rebel recognition. Do we have any public comments? Do we have any rebel recognition?
Well, great play over the weekend. So I was there Saturday, ran into David there as well. So nice job for the students that performed their Jekyll and Hyde this weekend. So that was fun to see. So,
Yep.
awesome.
Did a great job. A lot of work goes into those things and just get a limited chance to perform. So well done by Mr. Andrew Melvin and
Yes.
the entire cast. Any other rebel recognition?
Our middle school band kids have their first concert today, so they've all geared up and ready, so that'll be fun. Lots of music things happening.
First time for 5th graders?
First time for 5th grade, yep.
Awesome.
It'll be something to see.
Fun.
And here.
Fun,
And
yes.
here,
Take this to the parents, yes, for sure. Any other rebel recognition? All right, then we'll move on to 6.1, the special education report. And we've got Scott with us.
There should be an X on the
Oh,
wall.
There, there.
All right, good evening, everybody. When Shannon asked if I could come present at tonight's meeting, I thought the best approach to this presentation might be a follow-up to what we had last April, where we talked quite at length about the cooperative and services and supports that it provides in the 8 different areas that are in the sheet in front of you. So remember that presentation, we talked about all those different areas. That's the exact same list we have in front of you. So we are about 5 months in, and getting to know Lake Agassiz, getting to know DGF. DGF's getting to know Lake Agassiz, and we're excited as we continue on through the rest of this year. But first area, so we have Lake Agassiz staff members supporting students in DGF public schools. You have listed 12 different areas there. We have our ECSE teachers, so that's from birth until the start of kindergarten. We have occupational therapists, then in and out of the school, speech language pathologists. Lake Agassiz speech language pathologists are primarily supporting preschool programming, and then school psychologists, 3 that are coming in and out. Assessment specialists, so this individual helps with the special education evaluations. Our teacher, the blind visually impaired, is here working within DGF. We have our MTSS/literacy coordinator here at least twice a week. Our physical health disabilities teacher, so here probably about once-ish a week. Our deaf, hard of hearing teacher, she's here supporting, I think, 3 students across the district. Myself as a special ed director. We have our data specialist that helps build a bridge between some of our billing opportunities and special ed teachers. And then Sarah, our special ed coordinator, who's here roughly about 3 to 4 days a week, ending the week. So a lot of staff members coming in and out of the building. Some of the positions exist prior, but about half of them will probably be new to the district. Recruitment and retention. We currently have 1 DGF employee partaking in the Lake Agassiz mentorship program. Worked with Shannon earlier this year to restructure the speech language pathologist department so we could meet our student needs with labor constraints. We weren't able to find a speech language pathologist, so instead of having to contract with outside entity, we found a speech language pathologist assistant and made it work. We sought some feedback from special ed staff. This was just 3-ish weeks ago, probably, Shannon, about that. Yeah, about the transition, how it's going, and how we can better further support them. Put a good plan together with administration. Excited to see how the rest of the year goes with that. Our window for Lake Agassiz tuition reimbursement program, so that's for those individuals that are going back to school to seek initial special education licensure. For the spring semester is currently open. Pretty certain that we'll get at least 1 DGF employee applicant. Number 3 is we're working on school-wide supports. So develop schedule documentation to assist with determining staffing needs. So we have all of our SPED staff on one document, one common place that's available to everybody. Provided some training on common assessments and intervention procedures. That's really been tied into the work of that our MTSS literacy coordinator, working with principals and the literacy leads here. We provide assistance training of intervention staff so they know where to find those interventions, what the assessments need, all those types of things. And then the DGF lead intervention staff are now attending monthly meetings at Lake Agassiz. So they're working with other individuals, having collaboration time. In terms of our programs, DGF students are now accessing all of our programs except our Glacial Ridge transitional skills, and that'll probably come next year because that's usually a year-long process to have conversations with families about the appropriateness of it. But excited to see that staff have quickly made referrals to our programs, and it's been beneficial for our students. We had a lot of professional development going on this summer, things like Fast Bridge, EduClimber, Care, Safety Care. I don't need to go into what all those mean, but just provide some perspective of the different tools that we're talking about. Working on SPED guiding documentation with the special ed teachers that are focusing on compliance and then different interventions with kids. Special education compliance. We are currently as part of MBE's monitoring cycle in year 1 that exists. It's just rotational that every district or cooperative participates in. So we review the existing IPs that are here against some compliance standards because we have a lot of rules and regulations in special ed. And we're providing training in identified areas to the staff as we move forward with the rest of the year. Principals have been great about making sure we can find time to meet with teachers to go through, special ed teachers to go through those things. Administrative support, lots of communication with your principals throughout the course of the year. I feel like we're getting on the same wavelength now with a variety of different things. We're working towards common documentation standards with things like schedules, training documents, evaluation structures, onboarding procedures. We've been working on quite a bit with the new paraprofessionals. And then financial, spent a good amount of time working with Marcus in the business office to streamline some existing processes that were in place, working to maximize revenue versus really focusing on medical assistance with an opportunity for us to gain revenue on certain medically based services. And then looking forward into next year, we'll be completing it probably January, but another application opportunity for funding source for interventionist types positions to keep students, hopefully with the goal of keeping students outside of special ed. So quick summary, but yeah, excited to continue working with DGF.
Any questions for Scott?
I just have one. With the PD, do you guys, like the Fast Bridge, EduClimber, Care, all that stuff, have a trainer come here and do PD on like a PD day?
Yeah,
Is that how it's been working?
It's kind of been a combination effort in a variety of things. EduClimber and Fast Bridge started during the summertime. We had August training days, and then over the course of this year, we've had a couple opportunities of little blips of time, and then 2 weeks. Last week, we at middle and high school principals were able to find subs. We were able to have a morning with middle school special ed teachers, and then an afternoon with high school special ed teachers. And then January, what's that?
6th, I think.
January 6th, we have a full
January.
day with paraprofessionals. 20.
20.
Yeah.
Didn't I say 20?
Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
bringing people
Oh, I was
here.
thinking about the after school.
Okay.
That's January 6th, I think, after school, right? Because we're going to do that with our special ed teachers. We talked about giving
Yep.
them,
Oh,
so we have
that's-
those after school workshops. That might be January 6th. Anyways, our next half day one, or not half day, sorry, the 2-hour one after school.
Yep.
We're going to have SPED being able to just work on their stuff with you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Scott?
I would just want to say, I appreciate Sarah and Scott's communication. Our principals are learning a lot because it was Mary Ann's world before. And now they have more responsibility in it, working with Scott and or Sarah. So they're learning kind of where they fit. So I actually like listening to the the conversation because they're more in tune with the special ed arena more than before, just because they've had to. So that's been a positive as far as communication. And I appreciate you guys being timely with you and Sarah both. Sarah's here quite a bit. It's just been quick response time, which is what we need right now.
Yeah, principals have been great to work with. I not once have heard that frustration, oh, no, this is my responsibility. Or whatever.
Yeah.
They're always excited to have a conversation to see what we can do to work through something or make something better.
So when we need an admin at an IEP meeting, is it either Sarah, if she's here, or one of the principals?
It's usually our principals, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, Sarah's maybe been at some, but
Sarah's
it's
attended a few. If
kind of, there was a need
Just
maybe, I
kind of
think.
whoever's around?
we're working on getting it built so that one person across the district is scheduling them all, so then we can have calendars that see when people are available. It's usually one principal and then potentially Sarah if it's a unit situation.
That's kind of back to that special ed secretary position we talked about. That's what we're hoping that Nikki's working on that now, and it's just, so she's working on it, but this new position hopefully can help with all that to coordinate it better.
I feel like I know someone who does that.
So, yeah.
Any other questions for Scott? Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, well, on to 6.2, Mike Bailey presentation. We've got Derek and Mike Bailey. Derek Donegan.
All right, I am going to attempt to share my screen, so just bear with me for a second. No,
There should be a tab at the bottom of your screen, Derek. Does it show that? Or do we need
There
to get it?
I'm getting an error message that says can't share your screen.
Really? Okay. No, I came over without my glasses. Across right there. Can I thought I could say here that I could let him. Bum, bum, bum. Brooke, if I hit this X, that doesn't stop the recording, does it?
Don't know. I don't think so.
No, it shouldn't.
If it does, it can be.
How about now? Try now, Derek,
Okay,
if you can.
let me try.
Usually it.
Nope, still getting the sorry, an error has occurred when screen sharing. Please try again.
Well, I visited with John today when we were moving to this room. He said you would be able to just click that and you could share. Still say able to content, yeah.
Email it to you and you could share it.
Yeah, see, I can share that, but I don't want to share. What's this baby over here?
I could have done that. I can just hit buttons.
Well,
Yeah. Shannon, can he email it to you quick?
yeah, maybe we should do that, Derek. Can you email it to me and then I can share it?
Yeah, just 1 second.
Click on things down.
Nope, yeah, I'm just gonna go here. You have my email, right, Derek? Is that S. Hunstead?
I might request it here in a second. Yep, I do have your email.
My phone right now.
Yeah, yes.
So hopefully it's coming your way here.
Yep, it's trying to open. I don't know why it's just not.
I don't know why.
Send it to my.
I have to remember.
I'm gonna keep trying.
Well, I've got my email up here, so hopefully.
Is it working now?
Oh, I don't know. Let's go back.
It went through this time. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
We are seeing us. Oh, now we're gonna see, I think. We're gonna see your presentation. Yes.
Aha.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Like-
I did the same thing 5 times and it worked the 5th time. So I don't.
Well, there you go. 5th time's the charm. Well done.
I don't think I did anything differently, but here we are. It worked. So technology always going to keep you on your toes, but thank you very much for being patient with me. I'm going to jump right in if that's all right. And my name is Derek Flanagan, partner here with Ike Bailey tonight, ready to present to you the June 30, 2024 audit. And it's in a very similar format that you're used to from prior years. We have a PowerPoint we put together that will facilitate this conversation. I would encourage your questions. They can be while I'm on a slide. I will also open it up at the end for questions. So hopefully you'll feel plenty of time for questions. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right in. So you've hired us to perform your annual audit that's required every year by the school district. And as part of that, we issue some financial statements. Those financial statements are yours. It is our responsibility as the auditors to express an opinion on those financial statements. The opinion you received in the current year is an unmodified opinion. That is a clean audit opinion. That is the opinion you want. So I can see in the room, everyone is super pumped up. You got that clean audit opinion in the current year.
I'm just telling you. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, it's your last audit.
One thing I'll point out is that you did receive a second audit in the current year, and it's been a couple of years now. For a number of years, I think you've been over the threshold of $750,000 of federal awards that are spent in a year. If that occurs, it requires you to incur a separate federal audit. And the premise is the same, where we express an opinion on whichever programs are selected for testing. And we had 2 programs in the current year, Child Nutrition Cluster and ESSER, and both received the clean unmodified opinion related to that. So you were about double the threshold for requiring an audit of $750,000. You did expend a little over $1.5 million. As part of the audit, if we have findings, we want to make you aware of those. And so I'm going to touch on those here on this slide. And so they're broken into 3 different categories. I mentioned the 2 audits previously. And then we also have some Minnesota legal compliance testing that we perform every year as part of our audit. And so the first one is your financial statement findings. 3 findings to note there. Prep of financial statements, which is just that you had us prepare the financial statements as part of the audit. We did propose journal entries while we were performing our procedures, and that you have a lack of segregation of duties within your accounting function. And so these 3 findings are very, very common for an organization your size. To alleviate like the segregation of duties finding, you would have to hire additional employees, and that would cost you money. And so these are, I would say, of school districts your size, very, very common to see. With the federal awards audit, we did note one finding while testing the child nutrition cluster. There was a reporting finding relative to some meal counts reported that did not match the underlying support. Relative to the Minnesota legal compliance testing, just one finding there, and we're seeing this pretty frequently with the school districts we audit, and that is that if you have certain student activity accounts that do not have any activity, and when I say activity, I mean any receipts or disbursements for a year, we are required to report that as a finding. So that's a summary of the findings that we had for the June 30, 2024 audit. So that kind of concludes what I would call the dialogue portion of my presentation. From here on out, we're going to get into some of the financial information that comes directly from your financial statements. The nice thing about this PowerPoint is that we have the flexibility to incorporate it into charts and graphs and much more viewer friendly, as opposed to the financial statements, which have to be in a certain format and really only focus on the current year under audit. So this first one is your cash and investment position for 10 years, and you can kind of see the trend analysis there. And you can see in the current year you did, and this is for the district as a whole, but it does not include your cash with fiscal agent that is specific to your sinking bond fund. And then it does exclude capital projects, because typically when we want to compare apples to apples, and when you bond out for specific projects, there's a lot of timing differences there where the proceeds come in and it can inflate this number for a year. And then as the project goes on, it can obviously go down. So we want to compare apples to apples. And as the general fund subsidized the capital project fund in the current year, this cash balance went down. The next graph is your student count, or ADM served. Now, this one is non-financial in nature, but so many of your revenues are derived from your student counts. Obviously, you get more revenue the more students you have. And so we always like to show this and to have a handle. You know, not only is this this shows you backward looking for 10 years, and nice to see the trend analysis and a nice little increase in the current year, but also good for you to have a handle on what you project the future. Obviously, you can't pin that down exactly, but can really help with budgeting and things of that nature going forward. As I mentioned, you can see a nice little increase in your students served in 2024. And the next slide is a lot of information. So now we're looking at your general fund budget to actual, but this is just going to focus on how results came in compared to what you anticipated with your final budget. So I focus on the far right two columns. The third column is your actual results, and then the far right is the variance of actual to the final budget. And so you can see your revenues were 4.2% over. When we say over, we do mean that you received more than you had anticipated with your final budget. Your expenditures were also over, 3.5% over, so you did spend more than you had anticipated with your final budget. You can see in the third column there toward the end, your net change in fund balance within the general fund was a positive 285,941. And your fund balance in total, and we'll get into more on your fund balance categories, but in total, just over 2.7 million. So again, a lot of information here, but just shows you how results came in compared to what you budgeted for the year. And so I mentioned I would do some analysis on your fund balance. And before we do, just some background on why you want to carry a positive fund balance. It contributes to a favorable bond rating in the event that you are bonding. Obviously provides income to the extent it's invested, and then just offers that cushion for when those unexpected things come up, whether it's a boiler repair or what have you. You know, sometimes things come up that you haven't budgeted for or you do not anticipate, and there's those financial needs. So it just offers that cushion. This next slide is on your the various fund balance categories, and just provides the accounting definitions relative to each. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but rather move on to this next slide where we get into your different fund balance categories. So these are all within the general fund. You can see the total on the far right there matches when we got to the end of the budget to actual there for your general fund of just over 2.7 million. But this just breaks it down into the various fund balance categories that you have. The top one is your non-spendable amount, and that can just relate to either inventoried or prepaid items. And then there's 8 different restriction accounts, most of which are placed by the state of Minnesota and have to be used for specific purposes. And then once those have been determined, the remaining will be what is called your unassigned fund balance, and can be used for a very flexible amount, can be used for whatever purposes you deem necessary. And so you can see the increase there in your unassigned fund balance from just over 845,000 in the prior year to just short of 1.5 million in the current year. And that's where we focus as we continue the analysis on your fund balance. This next slide is breaking it down in terms of the various totals for each category, but then just provides kind of that line chart too, so you can see visually where you've been at in terms of total within your general fund for fund balance. And kind of nice to see over the 10 years there, you've kind of had some trends there. You were climbing for a period of time and then it decreased a little bit. Now you've been climbing again the last couple of years. So as we do some analysis on your fund balance, this is probably what I feel is one of the more meaningful slides within this presentation. And that is where we take, I mentioned that unassigned fund balance that we had on the previous slide. We take that and divide it by the expenditures in your general fund to come up with a percentage. And that is actually for your district on the next slide where results came in. But before we get there, a couple of benchmarks. The bottom is a national benchmark that was published by the GFOA, which recommends 2 months, which equates to 16.67%. Based on your expenditure level, that would be an unassigned fund balance of approximately 3.4 million. You have your own policy, which is probably more important because it's your policy. It's what you strive to maintain, of being no less than 10% and no more than 15%, which equates to 2 to 3 million in terms of where you're at with your current expenditure level. So without further ado, as we move to where you're at for the current year, you can see we noted previously that unassigned fund balance had increased. So correspondingly, this increased as well. The percentage for 2024, 7.2%, increasing from 4.5% in the prior year. Still not quite to the range that you've published for your district's policy in terms of being between 10 and 15%. But from 2022 to 2024, you can see the nice gains that you've had within the general fund unassigned fund balance as a percent of expenditures. So moving forward, everything to this point has really focused on your general fund. Didn't want to leave a couple of the other funds out. So this next slide is your community service fund. And this is your fund balance in total. And you can see, again, 10 years of information. The community service does have some various restrictions within it. But you can see the nice increase that you had in the current year. Fund balance being at 178,097 at year-end June 30, 2024, an increase from just over 142,000 in the prior year. And the last slide that I have is your food service fund. And this also experienced an increase in the current year. Fund balance at the end of the year, 600,430, up from just over 365,000 in the prior year. And we have on this slide, the maroon line is the maximum allowable fund balance, which is 3 months worth of expenditures. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to lose anything or any funding. It just means that you might have to have some additional correspondence with MDE. What they like to do is just ask you in terms of information on how you plan to spend that fund balance down in future years. So it could result in you having to have that additional correspondence with MDE. And that is the last slide that we have prepared. So I would open it up to see if there are any questions.
What percent did you say the fund balance was at?
7.2.
Thank you.
Any questions for Derek? You were that thorough, Derek.
The audit is that exciting. This isn't the first time that's happened.
I was on the edge of my seat. Any other questions? Comments? Well, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Derek.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your night.
You too. Thank
Oh,
you.
hey, Derek, I should ask, when would we expect our booklets from you guys? Do you know what that timeline would be?
Yeah, I'm gonna say days, in a few days. With Thanksgiving, that could be tricky. That might mean it might end up being early next week, but it should be within a handful of days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go on to 6.3 and we'll start with the facilities transportation board committee report.
We met after the last meeting, and part of our agenda was talking about the fiscal year 25 transportation plan. What is that gonna look like? Hopefully we can hire an ED and transportation director that can work with Eileen before she retires. And then bus contractor negotiations start in March, so that will be a new group of people negotiating with the transportation. And then we also went over indoor and outdoor facilities on the strategic plan. So, for example, things that would be nice to have done, what takes priority around the facilities. Just for example, like putting fence around the bottom of the bleachers out by the football things. 1, to keep kids out of there, and 2, for cold storage, and we can lock it up. So a lot of those kind of wish list items.
And is the plan still to have the position posted in December?
It's already been posted.
Oh,
We
it's
have,
already
we have 5
posted.
applicants already.
Nice.
Yep, we have some real good applicants already, and so that closes December 13th, I think. So I'll be sending a message to the ones that have applied so far, just reminding them that it's still open till the 13th. So, as you apply for something, you're going, hey, they know that we've received it, so they know that. I just want to let them know, so just remind them of the timeline. So, yeah, we have 5 applicants already, and so that's been very good. I'm gonna have Katie involved in that. I'm gonna have Joe O'Keefe as the high school principal, myself. Haven't decided yet, so those people for sure. But middle of December when we get it, I want to put the whole packet together. I do have an interview packet. I've had Eileen, and Eileen needs to be a part of it too. Eileen and Katie have already looked through the job description that I've created. Also had all the questions for the interviews for them to go through, and they've looked at that already. And so they're part of that whole process. So yeah, it'll be a good discussion when we get closer to who will be a part of it, but those people for sure.
Any other questions on facility transportation? All right, well, thank you, Amy. All right, 6.3B, policies committee.
Want me to take this one?
Sure, go for it.
We just met before this meeting to go over the policies that will be approving the first reading for tonight. And there was only a couple changes to a couple policies. One would be the activities one fundraising form that we talked about the last meeting. We changed the 3 months to coordinate better with the 3 seasons of activities. So that was an update. The other update was just adding or changing the person who reports for Title IX issues, which is Tessa Tisberg. And the other thing we are checking on before the second reading is on these student use of parking motor vehicles forms, making sure it says that our students have to be filling out the form with information about their vehicles and getting signed by their parents to say they are allowed to drive during the school day. We want to ensure that if that's our policy, that we're following it, and how our students leaving the building, coming back, and us making sure we know who is in and out. So we have some follow-up to do before the next meeting. Did I miss anything?
No, we covered it.
Are we tabling that, or are we just gonna clarify it after the next one?
It's the first reading, so I
First
think we're
reading,
okay for
fair.
now, and if we
Okay.
need to for the second, I guess we'll have more clarification to Brittany's point.
Yeah, because I think we agreed that it's a good policy and a good form to be filled out. We just need to work on the technicalities and get
Implementation of it,
answers on the implementation.
I had some questions today on that and didn't get the answers today before the meeting, so I've got some follow-up stuff to check on that, so.
Any other questions for Brittany? Just note that, all the policies are on the website, so they're, for anybody that wants to read up on them, certainly have the opportunity to do that.
Some light reading.
Little light reading, but interesting, no doubt. 6.3C, Activities Council.
So I sent you guys an email last week after our meeting, so I'll just recap for the public that's watching. We met last Wednesday morning. Katie Oman held it as she's our AD right now. So a couple conversations, trophy cases, Mr. Kittleson's class have been building. The first one was up, we saw it last time down there. So they'll paint the back of it black, and then once both are installed, then the glass will come. So save a little bit of money just having them come out one time to do the glass. Number 2 is DGF Hall of Fame. Katie wants to start that. So who would be eligible? The criteria discussed was DGF alumni, coach / administrator, community contributor, staff, or a DGF team. The nomination process will be shared on the school website and social media. They're talking about possibly doing a QRS code on the bottom of like our bulletins at the games. Would like to have nominations in by May 1st so that it would give the committee time to select who they would like to induct, and at that point would like to do it during homecoming week, possibly having them recognized during the football game, and then Shannon had a great idea of like the next day, like a Saturday afternoon, having like a banquet to invite people to come to. We didn't really get into all the details of that. I think it's just kind of the more to come. And then Katie had shared this, and Shannon actually had shared at the last meeting, HOL student athlete gathering. Our school hosted 50 students from the Heart of Lakes Conference to discuss student expectations and behaviors during games. This was a very positive experience with the students talking about behaviors of students and adults. So what will happen is, like, if our students go to another site, say they go to Holly, they will go and check in with the Holly AD and let them know that they're there. So they will read a joint statement with the Holly student about expectations and behaviors, and it's coming from the student body. So they'll get in for free. So whoever our students, how many students did we have? Did she say like 5 or 6 representing DGF?
Something like
so
that, yeah.
there's specific students picked out from our school district, in every school district. But so if there's a problem that arises with our student body, our selected HOL student representative will talk to our student. If the problem still persists, the AD will become involved if issues still continue. And then if it goes further, then the parent or the students will be asked to leave. And the student athletes asked for this process and is driven by them. So I was very impressed with the conversation, that they just want to hold people accountable and make sure that's a positive experience for all. A lot of discussion, Katie said, on parent behavior, and how the kids are kind of frustrated and disgusted with the yelling at refs and yelling at coaches and stuff during the games. So it's an interesting perspective to hear.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Are the students expected to go speak with the parents, or is that going to be kind of the activity director?
Yeah. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
That'll be a conversation. I
Yeah.
would say most likely they won't. And that would be the
I
one
I
thing.
feel like that would be more appropriate. I feel like that might be very uncomfortable for those poor kids who are
Yeah.
trying to be leaders.
For sure.
Yeah.
The one nice piece on it is, so I go to your school, Nicole, and I'm the student. As an AD, then it's nice to have a student there that AD can go to, because they don't know your kids yet, right? So that's the nice
100%, yeah.
connection. Yeah, so that'll be good. When it comes to a parent, yeah, that's going to have to be an adult situation. I'm sure.
Okay.
So,
I
no.
feel like that would be more appropriate if an
Yeah.
adult is elevated. I don't know that we should put our kids at that
Yeah.
position.
No,
but-
I
No,
agree.
That's a fair question, though. Yeah.
Mhm. So I think they plan on meeting again at some point,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it's going to be an ongoing thing. I think we're going to learn throughout this year. How does it work? And I don't know, I was not at Pelican Rapids for the girls' game. If our student was there and talked, I don't know. Is anybody? Yeah, I don't know. I watched it on TV, but it was after that. So I don't know if they spoke or met with their activities director. So as this basketball season goes on and wrestling, we're going to, see how that works. And, does the other school send their kid? Do we send our kids to away games? And how does that work? So it is nice, though, to hear that the students want to be a part of that and want to keep it positive. So, yeah.
On the Hall of Fame nominations, are they going wins and buffaloes and
So the
Dilworth
discussion,
Locomotives
the
and
discussion was had and the committee believes that, you know, since our school district's been combined almost 32 years, that it's gonna be the Rebels.
Sure.
It's gonna be DGF Rebels. There was discussion about it, but then, you know, you just kind of get into the weeds about it. We just feel like we have a significant body of student athletes and community contributors and teams and everything to look at. So the decision was made to move forward with us as Rebels.
any other questions for Lindsay? All right, we'll go on to the district leadership team.
Yeah, we met last Thursday, and both Tracy Tollefson and Katie Ullman presented to the group, and Katie kind of discussed mostly what Lindsay just presented on. The one thing that she did mention was that there's talk of going to online ticketing for games. And she said that wouldn't be implemented this year, but it would be next year,
Yeah,
next school year.
it's the conversation right now. But that they would still accept cash.
Well, I think
Yes,
that's the thing,
it's
'cause-
gonna be a
process.
process. It's a process. It's
Yeah.
not just a hard cutoff. but
Well, like
that's-
Brittany and I were both in Moorhead, and both of our parents do not have smartphones, so we're like trying to meet our dads at the door,
Yeah.
and then they can't pay cash to get in. I mean, I just think it cuts off people, gives them kind of a sour taste, like I
Yeah.
can't. Cash
And
is king, right?
and
I
not
mean, if
every kid
technology goes
has-
down and we have a whole line of people out the door,
Not
but
every-
you know what I mean?
Not
So
every kid
I,
has cash or a credit card or
correct,
access to those online options.
yeah.
I think
It's gonna be a
the
process,
good
like she
thing-
said. 'cause
Someone did bring that up, like what about people without, but we let seniors in for free, so that
Mhm.
kind of a little bit alleviates that problem,
Yeah.
which
True.
is a huge, I love that we do that because not every school does that. So
Mhm.
That's a good point, yeah. That
Just
was brought up, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's just one of those things too, and I think it's interesting now, just, you know, like going places and shopping. It's like 3% charge, or like, oh, here's some cash. And so like, how much would it cost the school district to run?
it's free, the,
It would be.
the app is, what is it, an app or whatever?
Mhm.
Katie did say it's free
For
to
the
use.
school,
Free to
it's
the
free to the
school.
school, but for the person buying the
You
ticket,
buy, you
there
pay
is a
the
fee.
extra fee.
Free. So
Whatever that.
I would
fee
highly
is.
encourage staying with some cash.
And I think that's what was she discussed too, that, yep, this is the deal, but it
Right,
could be an
and
option.
and that's what I think she also stressed, that it wasn't going to be an immediate cutoff. It was, there's gonna be, yeah, and there'll be growing pains with all of that.
Because at DL, they use that online ticketing at the door, but the concessions will not accept credit cards. They only want cash.
Mm.
That's what I mean. So it's just
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna have to work through that
I think it's
process,
just a
whenever that
working
happens.
process. And talk to your peeps and see what they think.
We'll have a lot of discussion this year. It's a Heart of Lakes conference discussion. So they want to do it all together, so they all have support from each other, whatever it is we decide to do. And I appreciate that too.
Consistency
have-
will be good.
Oh,
It
for
will
sure.
be, for sure. So there'll be more to come as we work towards this thing.
Any other questions for Laura? All right, we'll go on to 6.4, superintendent report.
Yeah, as you guys know, I was at the MREA conference last Sunday night through Tuesday morning. Attended some real good breakout sessions. Trying to work through TRA, and the teacher retirement has changed, right? And the legislators have made some adjustments, but not much. And how do you attract young people to go into the teaching profession, and what can you do with retirement plans and whatnot, and how can you help them with 403Bs and try to maybe entice them that way a little bit. There's districts, obviously, and NREA is pushing for a higher starting wage, but there's a lot of conversation about that, because if you do that, then what happens to the rest of the scale, and where's the money coming from? So it was just, there's a lot going on in the education world and trying to attract people. I said, and as you talk to more people there, and you ask them, what's your spouse do? How's their workspace? They're going, yeah, there's no workers there either. So everybody's struggling, it seems, but I mean, just for our kids, it's a struggle. So that was good. The other thing that really kind of stood out for me, MREA obviously supporting Outstate Minnesota, is that 53% of the schools in Outstate, so outside the 7 metro counties, 53% of the referendums passed, which means 47% failed. We have some neighbors close to us, Morden Barnesville, that they failed. As opposed to the metro, 100% of them passed. This is this ongoing issue, is that they have such a large tax base, so it's easy to vote yes because the tax impact is minimal. When you get out in rural Minnesota, your tax impact is significant. And we've said this, I say it all the time, we are the only entity that our constituents that can say no to. The county gets to raise taxes just because they get to raise them. There's no vote, there's no discussion, that's just it. County commissioners have a tough decision there. Same with city councils. City councils can just say, hey, we got to pay our people more. We need 6% increase. Becker County, for me, they had an increase of 7%. Well, it's what it is. Shannon gets to pay it, right? In a school district, we have to go out and communicate. We have to share the information. We have to tell them why we need it, and then they get to vote on it. Well, you know, if you're a taxpayer going, I can't say no to the county. I can't say no to a city, but I can say no to the school. Sometimes that's all it is, right? So it's a challenge for Outstate Minnesota. It just is. And so that was an interesting stat. We talked a lot about that. We talked about the legislative platform. You guys know we've talked a lot about that here. And the LOR is a big push for MREA too. They really want to support that. So that was good. The other nice part of the MREA conference, they celebrate great teachers and throughout the 4 regions of the state. And it's just really fun to listen to passionate educators that have done some pretty significant things in their school districts. The lady from Cook County, so that's up by Grand Marais, is actually where the school is. She was a winner of that School of Excellence or Teacher of Excellence last year. She went on to the national convention and ended up being the National Teacher of the Year in rural schools, and she was there again and spoke. Super powerful. Visited with her after, tried to get her speech. It was notes. I said, I need a copy of that because I'd like to share that with our staff. Good news, Emma already recorded her, so I'm going to get that and share it. It's just she's a dynamic teacher, so it was really cool. So no, great conference. It's just a good refresher, and it's nice for me because 3 of my kids live out there, so I get to stay there at their houses instead of at the Reagan. So it's kind of nice to rub elbows with them too. So good conference. Just remember that we're back in this wonderful setting. Maybe we'll have to arrange the seating differently. I don't know. Our December meeting will be in here for our Truth and Taxation meeting because we have a concert that night too. And so it's going to be same bat channel, same bat, whatever. So anyway, just a reminder of that we'll be down here again in December.
Is TNT at 6 though?
TNT has to be at 6. So we're going to have our board meeting at 5.
Okay.
And our Truth on Taxation, because the law says we have to be after 6. If that will start at 6. I know there are people here, I think, that have to get off to a conference or a concert. I will have the PowerPoint presentation starting at 6, and hopefully we got to have a quorum still, and we'll go through that at 6. But thanks, Liz, for that reminder. BERT update, just so you know, we talked about this a little bit. This is our emergency response team for the building, so building emergency response team. We have met with our secretarial staff. We've met with everybody that's on the BERT list. We have a Dilworth BERT roster and a Glendon one, so these are the contacts, and this is how it's going to get. So we can, the difficult call happens, our secretary knows we're going to have. So she, in this case for us, they're all ladies, can hold up a card to get the principal so they can keep this person on the phone. There's all this information will be right in front of them. Principal will take over, and then this is who gets communicated with, how it gets disseminated. So everybody has jobs, and we have it 3 deep. So first person's not here, goes to the second person, and everybody that's on the BERT team in Glendon has this. They know where they fit. They know their numbers, they know their jobs and responsibilities. We shared that with them. They each have that information. So it's really nice to go through this. Val is going to start doing some cold calls to our secretaries just to make sure they can work. hey, we're just practicing, but I'm the bad guy, and here's what happened. I got a bomb in the parking lot. Oop, I got this is happening. And just so we can communicate how to go. Were we quick? Did she feel comfortable? Did we have everything we needed? What was missing? And so we really showed up our communication and in the emergency responses. So I'm really happy with that process. And so we're just slowly, we put deadlines on the next thing is due by the 1st of December. And then, okay, good, and we're ready. So good stuff, or important stuff. But sadly, it's important, right? Foundation update. We had a meeting last Wednesday. A lot of positive there too. They started so we're waiting on the state. It's been a slow process from the state of Minnesota, but maybe that's okay because we've had time to really discuss things and we're going to get started correctly. There is a scholarship committee that was created. Dollars for Scholars has totally shared the dollars, so we'll have that as a foundation. They'll get it started. It'll still work under Dollars for Scholars title, and because they have a membership still for 2 more years. But so there's a scholarship committee that has been established. There is also another committee, marketing committee, to start to get the word out. So we're getting ready. So they're going to do some work. So when the state gives us the stamp, we're ready to go with some marketing ideas and plans and how we're going to reach out to the public. So one last thing that came from the foundation is they want to come alongside and support Katie's Hall of Fame plan. They want to be a support, whether they help with the banquet, they help with whatever. They're really excited to help with that. So Katie and I are going to meet with Eric Wilkie and Matt Ahonen. I think it's next week or it's the week after. I'm sorry, but it's coming soon to start helping, how can they support that? And so that's exciting as well. Meeting with Concordia. Joe O'Keefe and I have a meeting tomorrow with the Concordia president, talking a little bit about the MSUM thing with tuition and what can Concordia do. And we have a lot of partnerships already with Concordia, just like Moorhead does with MSUM. So is there something there that we can build off? And so that's what that meeting tomorrow is about, is to strengthen that relationship and then hopefully create some opportunities for our students. And so that's it. And that's all I got. Any questions?
That's like a concert.
Sorry. Oh, you're good.
Good.
We got a
See you
quorum.
in a couple weeks.
In the same wonderful place.
Yeah.
All right. We will
If you stay
move-
put, or we can't pay the bills.
We will move on to 7.1. This is a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of November 12th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to number 8. This is a consent agenda. Approve the bills and claims for November 2024 in the amount of $438,123.40. Also to approve the and file for audit of the treasurer's monthly budget report. The treasurer's monthly budget report's in your packet. Approve the leave of absence for Tricia Reck, certified teacher for the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lindsay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. Any questions or discussion? Just noticed the bills were a little higher.
They were. So one of the big, there's 2 big bills. One was a big chunk that went up for the band music trip, and that's an in and out. So it kind of makes this number jump. The other one that's big is we've had significant boiler upgrades from kind of throughout the summer and even now. And so that bill got large and it kind of came at a big dump. Chase went through the whole thing, and we've made some significant improvements for efficiency. But it costs money to get those things in place, so that was another big expense this last month. but hopefully will pay off shortly. So
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to new and unfinished business, 9.1. This is to approve the fiscal year 2024 audit as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Micah. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. Any questions or discussion? Just happy we got a good audit. So well done,
well,
Marcus and team, Shannon and team.
yeah, no, it's good. We had a goal. Remember, goal was to be at 1.2 at the end of this year. We got to 1.4.5. So that was
Great job.
that was a good thing. Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 9.2. This is to approve the world's best workforce comprehensive achievement and civic readiness summary report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lindsay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. Any question or discussion?
The only thing I want to make sure you guys know that the world's best workforce, that title or name is going away, and it is replaced with the Comprehensive Achievement and Civic Readiness Report.
That'll actually be an improvement.
It's
It's not really about the world's
it's not a
best workforce.
it's no this is yeah. So it's a comprehensive achievement. Anyway, so what'll happen is this whole report, and I shared with you on Friday this report in my weekly update. This will now, after tonight's meeting, go on our website because it's required by the state to have that. We got to send this information that tonight you guys approved it. And it's just a matter of taking our goals from last year and then how did we do and then the new ones. So last year, if you remember, I had about a 15-20 minute presentation for you. It's the same thing. It's just taking those goals and then, okay, modifying. And Brittany has gone through all of them as our testing coordinator and put the new numbers in there. So yeah, if you have questions in the future or whatever for the public, it'll be out there on our website and be more than happy to go through it in more detail. But I thought tonight with all the other presentations, we don't need another one. So, and you guys saw it last year. It's similar. Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.3. This is for the first reading of the following policies. 521, student disability non-discrimination. 521, student disability non-discrimination form. 522, student sex non-discrimination form. 523, policies incorporated by reference. 524, internet use agreement form. 525, violence prevention. 526, hazing prohibition. 527, student use and parking of motor vehicles, patrols, inspections, and searches. 527, student use and parking of motor vehicles, patrols, inspections, and searches form. 528, student parental, family, and marital status non-discrimination. 529, staff notification of violent behavior by students. 529, staff notification of violent behavior by students form. And 713, student activities. Do I have a motion? Motion by Lindsay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.4. This is to approve the first reading of the school board handbook. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Micah. Any questions or discussion?
I just thought it was very comprehensive and good. It's probably something I wished I had when I first came on the school board. I think it's a great reminder of your resources. So Troy, you'll appreciate it. There's a lot to learn. You know, and I like that how you have it broken up. Like what is the duties of a school board? And so yeah, well done to you guys for putting that together and working with MSB.
Yeah, it's just nice
to.
to,
I thought it was really good.
Yeah. it's just
I mean,
nice to have it in one
yeah,
spot for people to go to.
Well, I even liked how you guys had it broken down. You receive an email. This is what you do, or this, you know, I mean, gosh, that'd have been awesome.
Well, it's nice.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, well, MSB does a great job, and it's
Yeah.
just another way of saying, hey, here it is, especially for somebody new. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, here's what my assumption is, and then you go, oh,
Yeah.
why wouldn't I do this? Or what? Well, there's reasons why, or there's, creates good conversation,
I'm
right?
glad you didn't Put on there, call old board members.
Yeah. Oh, this is the first, hey, this is the first reading.
Yeah, here, you can change that.
Brooke, write that down.
Should have a line in there, call Ronnie.
Call Ronnie.
Call Ronnie.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.5. This is to approve donations as presented. This will be a resolution.
Do you have the,
I'll read the resolution.
oh, do you want us to read it? Or you-
Well, it's my chicken scratching, so.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah, you're on it.
resolution
He's
goes,
modified.
whereas Minnesota statute requires donations to be accepted by a resolution of 2/3 majority of the school board. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board of Dilworth, Glen, and Felton Public Schools, Independent School District 2164, gratefully accepts the following donations as identified below from CoBank in the amount of $20,000 for DGF FFA, from Bernadine Backus of an accent tuba, value of $6,000 for the DGF music department. All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, go ahead.
Motion
Micah.
by
I'll second.
Micah, second by Lindsay. Any questions or discussion?
Great gift from Cobank.
Wow.
And that's, I'm gonna say it publicly, because I don't know, David Craig, this came from him. Because he's on the board of directors. He is now coming off the board of directors for Cobank. And as a director, they get some of these funds to share with what they feel they want to support. And he didn't want to break it up. He wanted it all to go there. So it was big thank you to David. And yeah, what a wonderful gift.
Yeah,
So-
it was wonderful, and also from
Yeah,
Bernadine Backus,
for
tremendous gifts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very fortunate. So this is a resolution. We'll do it by roll call. Micah,
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
Lindsay.
Aye.
David, aye. And the resolution is approved. Okay, on to 9.6. This is to approve the non-certified contract for Jenna Maker, paraprofessional, class 2, step 3, effective December 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Micah. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. 10.1, the next school board meeting is Monday, December 16th, 2024, at 5 o'clock here in the Glendon site in the Media Center. And we'll have Truth and Taxation also at 6 o'clock. 10.2 is the Budget Committee meeting. We'll follow the school board meeting here at the same location in the Glendon site. On number 11, this is motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lindsay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.
Micah, do you want to just click this stop record? Can you, or maybe Brooks can swoop in, save the day.
Michael was told not to touch it.
Oh, okay.
Don't touch.
Does anybody want to vote in the Lakes Country Service Cooperative Board? for the
I
Lakes?
nominate David.
David,
Well,
you get to pick.
The nominees are already in.
Oh,
I nominate,
Can't do it
I
right
would
in?
nominate Troy.
I'm not on yet, so.
No, but there's
You can
a
vote.
slate of